Alright, today we're making butter poached shrimp. We're going to do this a quick cheat way because, well, personally, I'm not going to go through the clarifying butter and process, and I'm not doing that. I never have. Oh, that's not true. I have. I find it annoying, and I find the flavor of the shrimp at the end result to be pretty much the same. But anyway, right now, we're going to get our linguine going. You can serve butter poached shrimp many different ways over polenta, various kinds of pasta, even rice, in arborio rice if you want to do it with risotto, brown rice. Anyway, many different ways. I'm going to do linguine. So this is nicely salted water. I'm about to bring it to a boil. And as I've said before, your water always comes to a boil faster if you put the lid on. So I'm going to get the linguine to al dente, remove it from the heat, drain it, put it back in this pot, and then we'll come back to it later. Let's talk butter for a moment. So when you're poaching your shrimp, and this is the same method I use for lobster, or crab, or all three together. Poaching is not the same as boiling. You want a very low simmer on the butter once it's melted. You're going to melt it on low, between low and medium as well. When I'm doing a butter poached anything seafood, I like to use a European style butter versus a quote-unquote American butter. I find I get a better result that way. Anyway, in here I have 1 pound of butter, and everything else I'm about to say is to taste. So I have some thick cut smoked bacon, some parsley, tarragon, red pepper flake, black pepper, rosemary, some garlic powder, onion powder. You can omit anything I'm saying if you don't like it. A little sea salt, and that's it for now. Once this melts, at that point I will add some Meyer lemon. I'm also going to add some fresh garlic, minced garlic. Once the butter melts, right before I add the shrimp. So we will be back once that is melted and right before I put in the shrimp. Alright, our butter is ready to go, and as a matter of fact, I want to turn the heat down a little bit more. Okay, so now we are ready for our shrimp. I'm going to add a pound of large Gulf shrimp, peeled, deveined, no tails, of course. That's too much work trying to eat shrimp, trying to peel off I don't want to go through all that. And if I'm buying shrimp and I'm eating shrimp, I want to eat everything that's on my plate. I don't want to be peeling off tails and then have stuff left over looks a hot ass mess when you're done. So we're going to add the shrimp. And I'm not actually ready for that because I've been doing other stuff. So we'll add the shrimp and then we'll come back. Alrighty. Shrimp have been added and they're poaching. Although it looks like it's not doing anything, I promise you, it is. Again, you don't want this to boil. You barely want it to even simmer. So I just added in cold shrimp, so it's got to come back up, but it will simmer. How long? Okay, I can't give you a time. When you see them start to turn pink, that's when you remove it from the heat, and we're going to move on. And at that point, you move on to the next step. So let me change gears and go to the pasta. So to the pasta, I have added some peas. These are already cooked. This is what I like to use. It's a 10-ounce bag. That's a perfect amount. So these are added, and I want you to see something else, which is when I drained the pasta, I reserved just a little bit of the pasta water. If you are a fan of Lydia Bastianich, like I am, she will yell at you if you don't reserve some of the pasta water. Now, what are we going to use for sauce? Well, we're making it right now. That is going to be our sauce for this pasta. And we're going to grate just a touch of Parmigiano Reggiano in here, in the pasta rather, right after we serve this. Now, before I forget, again, to the butter before it was melting, I also added a little Tony Chachere's, because, well, I like Tony Chachere's. I also added just a touch of extra virgin olive oil to the butter before I started melting it. Because I'm not like braising or frying or something like that, the olive oil isn't needed to keep the butter from burning. I just like the taste of olive oil and butter combined with my butter poached shrimp or lobster. So that's really the reason behind that. Now, somebody asked me, why would you not, get the butter up to a fast temperature? Okay, because I'm not frying the shrimp. I'm poaching. Poaching means basically cook in the liquid, cooked by the liquid, but you're also flavoring what you're cooking with the liquid. You can poach shrimp in water, chicken broth, vegetable broth, wine, a combination of those, but poaching it in butter is my favorite way to actually eat shrimp next to frying it. So we will come back when it is time for me to take these out and put them in the pasta later. Alright, so our shrimp is just starting to turn pink, and now we're going to get it into here. It's a lot easier when you're not doing it one-handed. Alright, so now we're basically just going to pour this butter mixture and the shrimp over the pasta. The stove is still on low. I just kind of turned it up a little to between medium and low. And we're just going to mix this up. And once I get it mixed, really all I'm going to do is cover it and then turn the heat off, and I'm going to let it sit for about 4 or 5 minutes. And the shrimp are basically going to finish cooking off the heat. They're going to, that butter mixture in the shrimp is going to warm up the pasta. It was never cold because I kept it covered. It's going to melt that little bit of cheese that I put in there. And before you turn up your nose at that little bit of cheese in this shrimp and this pasta, you might want to try it first because it's whoo. All right, so we're going to let this sit. That pasta water will also thicken that butter poaching liquid just a tiny bit, which is okay. Right now I'm just stirring it to make sure all the pasta is coated with that poaching liquid, and to get, you know, the herbs and stuff well distributed. Okay, the only thing that I'm going to do more right before I cover it is I'm going to add a little fresh parsley. I am going to taste it to see if it needs a little more fresh ground black pepper, but I don't think so. And then we will be back and let you see the final result. All right, we've been sitting for 5.5 minutes. Let's see what we have. Oh yes, perfect. This is exactly what I want. Come on, you little bugger. This shrimp is perfectly cooked. I don't even have to taste it. I test it. I can see just by how it looks that shrimp is not going to be rubbery or chewy. It's going to be perfectly juicy. And the only other thing that I would say is let it sit for another 2 minutes if you want. You can serve it right now. It's not warm. This is hot. You're going to be surprised at how these flavors all melded together. This is buttery. You get the lemon, the black pepper, the other herbs, and then the peas add just a hint of sweetness that complements the sweetness from these Gulf shrimp. Your family will love you for making this right here. Right, family? So make it. It's quick, easy, enjoy.